Welcome, everybody. We've got Jason Farris here, and he's from the Fresno area. Am I right, or am I completely wrong?
You know it, sir. FresYes is actually what we call it.
FresYes. I mean, how can I forget that?
Smack dab in the center of California.
And the last time we talked about a little bit about the email newsletter, about the community you've built, FresYes. I want to go deeper on this because we were talking off the webinar here and off the live, and we were talking about how important it is to continually deliver this message to our audience, whatever our audience is, and to be consistent in that, because we never know who's going to respond back in what manner and how deep we're going to connect with people in this community that we're building. So one, Jason, thank you for being on. If anybody has any referrals, please send them to Jason in the Fresno area. It covers all of Fresno. It's massive. And then second, dude, you're a pro at so many different things. So thanks for taking the time to go deep on this when it comes to email, newsletter, and building a community on email.
You are welcome. I am honored to be on the show again, like super honored, actually. So I get giddy, right? I'm just, let's go.
Well, this is a good one, dude. We've got a good audience. So tell me, what is it that you've changed over the last year on your newsletter, and what's the cadence of it right now?
Yeah, so we actually have two newsletters that go out. We have a newsletter goes out every Friday. If it's ready on Thursday evening, we'll send it out Thursday evening, but for certain it's out Friday morning. It's our hot and happening. It actually short term has performed much better than our regular newsletter, which goes out on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. So the Friday newsletter, it's hot and happening, and it's just honestly, it's a curation of events that are happening around our community, right? Like on Friday night, on Saturday, on Sunday. We try to pick a good mix, so it's not just all like beer festivals or wine festivals. It's, stuff for kids, it's stuff for adults. And so we have a list, right? We just, went through and made a list of everybody and anybody who throws events, and then we go and we grab those links and we put it all in one place for people. And so they can get that email on Friday and they can plan out their weekend. The open rate's fantastic. Response from people has been fantastic. We took a small little break for a period in COVID, maybe a month. We did our best to kind of create content when everyone was locked down. And during that month, people reached out and said, when are you bringing this back? Like we had put together our own scavenger hunts and different things to kind of help people, keep their families busy. But we did get a lot of people asking for it to come back. And we said, you know what, let's do it. Even if it's light on content, it's still something. So that goes out on Friday. And then Saturday, every Saturday, 8 a.m., the newsletter goes out. It's been going out for almost 7 years now on Saturday mornings, except for one time MailChimp had a little hiccup and it didn't go out. And I got all these emails like saying, hey, you're ruining my Saturday morning. Tell me you're not, you tell me you're not changing the newsletter, getting rid of it. And so it was a good moment for me, because I knew at that point that I was really become a part of people's morning routine and their habits. And so the newsletter went out by noon that day. And so two newsletters, frequency is great. And then the consistency is spot on, which I think is a big part of this. Like for any agent out there or here in the mortgage industry, small business, just it becomes part of the routine if you can consistently deliver the same day, same time, every weekend or day that you promise that it's going to be there.
All right, so you've got Friday hot and happening, which I love the name, by the way. What's the Saturday one?
It's just called the FresYes Insider. So it's really a sneak peek of like, we're highlighting our blog post that we write on our website. We're highlighting maybe a story that we found somewhere else locally, right, that someone wrote or on somebody else's website. We're saying, hey, this is a great story, go check it out. And then we give them a coming soon listing, which, by the way, when we have a coming soon, it is our most clicked on thing. Like
really?
By far. So we try to sneak one in there within the rules of our MLS, and then a featured listing. The featured listing could just be, it could be a deal that I see a house and I think this is a, spectacular, opportunity for someone to buy, or it could just be a house that we're highlighting because it's a unique neighborhood, or maybe it's because a subscriber has called and said, hey, I want you to list my home, but under the condition that I'm included in the newsletter.
No way.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, so agents dream, right, about this come list me calls, and
Yeah.
the newsletter is our number one source of come list me calls. Kid you not, people call and say, agents have called and said, can I pay you to put my client's home in your newsletter as the featured listing? Because apparently they thought I could do that. And
whoa.
Yeah. So, big compliment, for us. It tells us that people are reading the newsletter. It tells us that they're finding value in how we present their home, which is great, right? It's what we want, right? We want to be providing value. We want people to, when agents are calling to say, can I pay you to put my client's home? And it sells homes, by the way. So our agents will say, hey, can I put my listing in the newsletter as a featured property? And it's first come, first serve. And so they'll oftentimes represent the buyer, because the buyer is reading the newsletter, they saw the listing, they click on it, and it becomes they want to work with them. And so now they have both sides of the transaction.
All right. So there are 3 sections to the FresYes Insider, or there are 4?
There's 4. So I open up it comes with an opening paragraph that's from me. Like the whole thing I put my hands on before it goes out, but the opening paragraph is me. And the more that it's personal, like the more that I am transparent, that like they can tell that it's me, the more that I feel like less unsubscribes, I should say. If that makes sense. And I pay attention to that. So that's some of the, I brought out some things I was going to mention to the audience today, but that's one of them. Is I pay attention to when people unsubscribe and when people don't. And I've noticed that on times where I haven't wrote the opening paragraph, or the opening paragraph seems a little maybe generic, it tends to get people to unsubscribe, or we just get less clicks that week. And so I really make sure that I mention my kids' names, or, I mention my dog. Like, I want them to know it's me. It always is me, but I really now take an extra effort to make sure they know that it's Jason writing that paragraph. So an opening paragraph, usually a highlight from the blog, a featured listing. If we have any stories about food, we have a food in there. We usually remind them about the hot and happening. Hey, if you missed the hot and happening, we highlighted a few different things to do this weekend. Here's a link to it. And then at the very bottom, we allow them to search for homes, right? Like one-click searches, which have been very popular. So, click here for a list of 3-bedroom homes. Click here for homes with pools. Click here for homes in Clovis. So one-click searches. So they don't have to contact an agent to create their search. Of course, they're registering when they do it, and we just, softly reach out later to make sure that they were able to, find homes, and if they wanted to see any in person. So, but that's a gentle touch after the weekend. But one-click searches. And then we, mention, I think, join my text community. Then if you want to join our team, because we have, like, we need agents right now. We have so many buyers and sellers reaching out to us. And then we sometimes will end with a sponsor. So we've got particular, we have local companies that want to be seen and associate themselves with our brand. And so we will take sponsors. And we've had a Farmers Insurance do it, a brewing company do it. We've had several different local, candy shop is sponsoring next month's newsletter, and they helps offset some of the expense. And also, as long as we feel like we're in line, with our core values with theirs, then I think it's great. If it makes sense for our audience, we'll introduce them that way.
Nice, man. All right, we've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
So first, everyone, thanks for jumping on. Let us know what city and state you're from as we're doing this. But Aaron's got a question. Do you just put a link in the email for the coming soon and featured listings? Or do you put a picture, or what is it that looks like?
Yeah, I put bedroom, bath, address, bedroom, bathroom, picture, and then a link to the MLS or our website. So on the coming soon, we'll write up a little story on our website, like a blog post, and
Mhm.
we'll link them there. Rules with coming soon's changed in a lot of markets. And so how we handle those today is not really as sexy as the way we used to handle them, because there was some people that kind of ratted us out. So, I mean, all our properties would always go on the market. Everyone always had an opportunity to buy them, but some agents were maybe a little jealous and turned us in. So we're real careful on the coming soon. So
Yeah.
it goes out Saturday morning. The listing is usually live later that day or Sunday.
Oh, that's smart. That's actually what I would do too. But like, hey, coming soon, coming today, so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, like first peak. I mean, now it was a regular feature, and now it's more strategic because we need we can't do it Saturday and the property's going live next week without the days on market being dinged, or it's just,
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Do
So
you only feature one listing per week?
we'll do two. So we'll do two, but I try not to overload them. One of the things I learned from FresYes.com, from our website for years, is that if we overload it with real estate, people just tend to bounce away. So there's just always this thing we're trying to balance between community content and real estate. We want them to know that we're at the heart of this, like we're real estate agents, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm here to help people buy and sell homes, make their dreams come true, all that. But we're in business, and so we want them to buy those homes from us. Not it's always pained me when someone says, oh my gosh, I love the story about the hamburger places, and we ended up figuring out where we wanted to live based upon these articles that you wrote on the best hamburgers in town. And I go, great, where'd you buy the house from? And they say some real estate company that's not mine. I'm like, and they say, oh, we didn't know that's what you did. I'm like, shoot. So
Ah,
we got to have a little bit more. But when we go heavy, like it's an easy thing to test, and we're always testing. So those of you that are thinking about, getting into the newsletter game, I'd say yes, do it, but always testing. So if I load it up heavy on real estate, guarantee you my subscriber rate's going to go up. Like it'll be 50 unsubscribers, which to me is a ton. Like we're used to seeing 2 or 3. Right. And so if I see 50, I know something was different that people didn't respond to.
yeah. That
And
makes
that's
sense.
important to me.
All right. So why Friday and Saturday? Why back to back?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it's tested, and that's the Saturday one's not moving. That's just, we've already, that accident one time has told me that's when it goes. So Saturday at 8 a.m. The Friday one tested better that day. So we actually allowed MailChimp to kind of help us figure out when we should open it, or when we should send it based upon our audience. And it just happened to work out for Friday afternoon. We will sometimes put it out early, despite what the numbers say, on Thursday. But we do that only if we've got events happening early Friday and Friday afternoon. Then we'll do it. Or if there's a 3-day holiday, we'll push it out on Thursday.
Oh, nice, dude. Nice.
I want people to open it, right?
Yep.
I mean, you put a lot of love and attention into the newsletter. You want people to read it. Although, Tristan, I'm sure you would agree with me. Like, hey, if only one person reads it and they found it of value, then amen, right?
True.
But the more people that we can reach, we're changing their lives, we're providing the service for them, then the better. And so we're always testing that, always testing, what works and what's not working.
Question from the audience. Liz Ann, I hope I pronounced that right. Liz, are subscribers only previous current clients, your sphere? Who are the subscribers?
Love it. Anybody and everybody, as long as ideally they're in our community. I mean, yes, we have subscribers that are from different states. Most of those are agents that are watching what we're doing so they can duplicate it, which, by the way, please do. If you're watching this, like, subscribe, right? Go to FresYes.com, right-hand side, there should be a place where you can subscribe and just R&D it, rip off and duplicate me. I have no problem with that at all. So we do have subscribers from out of state, but predominantly, like, they're from our town or the surrounding towns. Yes, our past clients get asked to subscribe, and we ask them and they say, of course, yes. A matter of fact, every lead that comes in, part of our process is to say, hey, We've got an amazing newsletter that goes out on Friday and Saturday, helps you, stay connected to the community, find out what's going on, where to eat. And it has coming soon and new listed properties. If you'd like us to subscribe for you, we're happy to do that. And so all we need from them, of course, is that second email, like to confirm their signature. And so every one of the online leads go through that process. And then I want my family and friends to know what's going on in the community too. That's why it's such a balance of community information versus real estate information. I think one of the biggest mistakes most agents make with a newsletter is they're just trying to pump information about homes out to them. And that's not really what necessarily all the people are looking for. Yes, some people, right, but not all of the people. And we want all of them. By the way, like creating a newsletter like this and having an email list, like you can take it with you, right? If it's about community, right? Like I could get out of real estate today and open an insurance company, and my newsletter could be, just as relative to most people as it is today as me as a real estate agent, right? Because it's not just real estate. Right. It's about our community, about the places I've gone to eat, and the places I've taken my kids that they've enjoyed. It's that too. And people love it for that reason. Literally, Tristan, people will call me and say, okay, I've gotten your email for like 7 years now. Every Saturday, it's finally time to sell my home, or it's finally time to buy. And I wouldn't think of anybody but you. Right. Because most of the places I go and fell in love with in this town have been from your recommendation.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And that's right there what it's about. You're building, people forget that they're building relationships through the content they're putting out there. And you can take this from real estate to anything else that you want.
Yeah, I mean, you really can. It's just, as long as it's about, more than just the one thing, right? But who doesn't want to know what's going on in their community? And by the way, if they don't, they can unsubscribe. I want to touch upon that because I brought it up a few times, this in being unsubscribing, the losing people. It's important to me. That's one of the ways we grow our newsletter is we focus on retention too. It's just not about people, subscribing. It's about like keeping people subscribed. And so one of the things I used to do this, like with every unsubscriber, I admittedly don't personally call them anymore. Every once in a while, just as kind of for fun. But, I used to call people, right? Just like someone unsubscribed, if their profile was filled out when they subscribed with their phone number, I'd literally call and say, hey, Mr. Smith, like, I know this probably sounds like a very awkward thing for me to ask you, but I noticed you unsubscribed from my newsletter, and I just like that's okay, but I'm just curious, like, can you tell me why? Because I put in this newsletter out to provide value for my community. What can I do better, right? Do you want more food stories? You want more real estate stories? Like, what can I do to provide value for you? And then sometimes they say, oh, well, I had 2 email addresses. But sometimes they're like, honestly, like we bought a home through you. And that's really why we enjoyed getting the newsletter to keep up on some featured properties. And, you do your market updates once a month. And that's why we got it. And now that's why we unsubscribe. Like, okay, no problem. Right.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Or some people say, like, just where's the real estate? And I'm kind of like, huh? There's always real estate. But I used to call. Now we'll send kind of like an exit interview. Like, so when people unsubscribe, every month we'll go through and say, okay, right, like let's see who we can get to re-engage with us. And
like that.
All you have to do is ask them, right? People say, well, how do you do that? We ask, right? You just send a quick email, right? Non-intrusive. Hey, we're just trying to be better, trying to serve our community better. Tell us what we can do, right? Most people don't respond, but some people do. For everyone that does, I'm thumbs up.
All right. And then you mentioned that you put 1 listing on there, sometimes 2 with the coming soon. And it has a link. So it's a live picture. You click on it and then it takes you to your website. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And can you share any insight? It's another question on how you should title the subject of the newsletter.
Well, that's so funny that someone brought that up. Yeah. So it's a thing that we kind of became lazy about for a while. And so now that the newsletter is 100% back in my hands, which it has been now for, I don't know, about 8 months, I've been putting more focus on that subject line, because that's just another way for people to, open the email, right? Like you do this every day, every one of us. We wake up, we have hundreds of emails in our inboxes, and we have to decide, like, okay, what's spam and what can just be deleted, and or what am I going to open now, or maybe wait and open later. And so I pay attention to what I open, right? Like I'm like, oh, look,
Mhm.
and I laugh sometimes because somebody got me, right? The subject line was like, what do they mean by that? Like, like,
Uh,
sorry, goodbye. I'm like, well, they're saying
what?
goodbye.
Those always get me too,
Do
man.
they?
Oh, they make
Always, I'm
me
like,
feel
ah,
guilty. Like what?
yeah, like what I do,
I
and
hate
so
those.
yeah, we put, I think that headline really matters. In fact, there's people who make a career copywriting to write good subject lines, but we want them to click, we want them to open ours. And so I definitely pay a lot of attention to that first headline, and then when they open it, like it's got to pop with whatever kind of like our most important message is, which is with me and a good picture of something, right? Because we want them to scroll down on that newsletter and see the rest of the content.
Yeah. All right. All right. Another quick question here. This one's for me here. You use MailChimp.
Yeah.
You use it through Follow Up Boss or outside?
So I connect them. So I'm not sure who on my amazing staff did this, possibly Megan, but when we bring somebody in, anyway, they're connected. I wish I could explain how,
That's
but
fine.
here's the beauty of it is we can see in Follow Up Boss when people are opening our newsletters, which is awesome, right? Because it gives, and we don't, I mean, every one of the people that subscribe, they know they're subscribing. So, the agent on the other end can say, hey, I saw that you read this week's newsletter. What'd you think about this? It just gives them another piece of content to talk about. Like so many agents say, well, what do I say? Well, first it's hello, right? But then it could be, what'd you think about the article in, the FresYes Insider? We talked about the Fresno State game. What'd you think about that?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we can see how many people are opening, and it gives us another touch point, right? In addition to the drip, or in addition to the bombs, like in addition to what we're doing to stay engaged, it gives us just one more touch point. And if it's a segmented list, I don't want to get too technical, right? But if it's a segmented list, it's even, better, right? Like if we know that the segmented list that's getting our newsletter are people that bought from us within the last year, right? Then we know that we're keeping them engaged, right? Versus somebody who's come in the last 6 months, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so we segment it like that quite a bit, so we can really get an idea of who's clicking and the most, and who's really engaged with us.
With that segment, do you also nurture the ones that open the newsletter more than others?
Well, both, but I mean, I pay more attention to the ones that aren't opening versus the ones that are opening. But
Oh,
because I
nice.
I want that. I want to. Why are they not opening?
Dude,
Yeah.
that's really good. I need to do more of that.
So
Nice.
I pay more attention to those. I'm a big person with tags too.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so like I'll send specialty newsletters out. The two newsletters we're talking about are the ones that go out consistently, but there's special pieces that go out from time to time. So
Mhm.
if I have tagged a group of people, like a segmented list, right, of like beer lovers, and I know that they're a local brewery or like a bunch of them are doing like a beer walk or something. So I'll write something that tells those people about that event. Hey, it's a special email just for my beer lovers out there from Jason at FresYes.com. Right, there is a brewery walk on this day, this time. I'm going to be there, or, whatever, and say you should check it out too. People love when we do that, right? When we tell them something that's specifically of interest to them, they just that's how you make a subscriber for life, right? When you
Nice.
demonstrate that you're really paying attention to them.
I love that. I love that. All right.
And
I'm going
it's
to
fun too, right? To be able to
that is what's fun.
I mean, I know from you, like someone could watch one episode of your show, which they'd be hooked, by the way, if they just watched one, but they know about a lot about you by looking in your background, right? And so, like, if I found something that was very unique to the Star Wars lore, I would send it to you, and you'd be like, oh man, Jason knows me, and there's no difference here between all these people that are subscribing to our newsletter, right? The more we can personalize it to their interest, the more they're going to know, like, and trust us. And of course, that's when we have their business.
That's right, man. I think that's the key right there. That
Yeah.
is. All right. So because we got 2 minutes, I want to leave you at least a minute to switch to your next meeting. Okay. So just, I want to show here, Follow Up Boss. Under admin, you go to integrations and there's MailChimp. We have it connected. That's how you click on it and then you take the API. It's really easy to do. You can do that. He's using MailChimp. This is what MailChimp looks like. And you just go to MailChimp.com. And this is his website right here, FresYes.com. This is where you fill out on the right-hand side, first name, last name, email, enter the CAPTCHA, and then you should be fine for that newsletter. So you can get it on Fridays and Saturdays. This way, remember, if you have any referrals to send his way, you'll know who to send them to for Fresno.
I appreciate that. I'm looking through my list. I want to make sure I cover everything, Tristan. I actually put some work into today, if you believe that.
Dude.
But I was looking back at questions that I get most frequently, and one of them is like, how do you get subscribers? Like, because
yeah, that is a
well,
great
I only
question.
have 200 or something. And so here's what I put is, first of all, ask everywhere, right? It should be in your email signature. You shouldn't be embarrassed to ask your friends and family, subscribe to my newsletter, like kind of get some momentum going, right? Contest. Don't give away like a $25 gift card. Give away something significant. Get people excited, right? Like, give away an iPad, or, give away. It doesn't mean you have to give one away every week. You could give it away at the end of the month or end of the quarter, but give something significant. Yep. Surprise and delight your subscribers. So randomly send them shirts or hats, stickers, things like that. When you do that, guess what they do? They get on social media and say, "Oh my God, this is the best newsletter ever." Right. This guy sends me shirts and hats, and like, wow. And then they're promoting for you. And they do that, like, not just that day, but a lot of days.
It's so true.
Advertise something of value, in your marketplace. Like if somebody's doing something, like you would advertise and say, hey, here's what's going on, and we're going to give you a $20 gift card to it or something. Or not just a free CMA. Like some people say, oh, free CMA if you subscribe. No, like there's a new restaurant, go buy a gift card at the new restaurant and give that to them. Partner with large companies like your local zoo. Like we do stuff with the zoo from time to time, and they will say, hey, please support FresYes. They have an amazing local newsletter. Go and subscribe to them. And then we'll do the same thing for them, right? Right. And so reciprocatory. What else did I put here? Focus on retention. And then pay attention to when people unsubscribe and when they don't. If we had 50 unsubscribers a few weeks ago, and like it's on my list to look at that newsletter and figure out what was different, right? It could have been, maybe we kind of went a little political. We stayed away from politics, but maybe we crossed the line that week, and some people just felt like we weren't their taste. That's okay. Right. And then I put headlines matter. And then don't be a billboard. So change it up every once in a while, right? Like you drive down the freeway, say the same billboards time and time again, it kind of gets old. So every once in a while, we just kind of change it up, change the colors, change the formatting, and say, wow, look at us, we're brand new. And then it kind of creates some excitement around that.
I love that, man. And look, we're a little late, Jason. Sorry.
No worries.
A minute late, but I know everyone enjoyed this. That's what we could go for 30 minutes. Let's have you on again, 3-4 months from now.
Yeah.
And maybe you can show us that newsletter, how it flows, so people can get some visuals.
We could go into detail, look at look at the numbers and stuff, see that.
Oh, yes.
See the subscribers, see the everything, like see all those numbers. Yeah.
Let's do that. All right, Alberry, let's put on Mr. Farris again. And thanks, buddy. Sorry you're late to your coaching call, man. But
it's good. I told him I might be a few minutes late, and he's paying attention and watching right now.
Oh, good. So. I love it. All right, well, now he's all yours.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Tristan.